Hey guys, welcome back to another reading vlog. Oh, sorry, that was my phone. How many times a day, on average, do you get notifications on your phone? Just imagine how much reading you could get done if you were spending a minute reading a page of your book instead of checking that notification. Yeah, so I'm gonna be reading a page for every notification that I get, but I'm basing it on last week's notifications. So the amount of notifications I got last Monday will affect how many reading pages I have for this Monday. But here's the catch. For every page that I fail to read, my friend Mitchell, who hasn't read a book since middle school, will have to read it. And let's just say, he might be reading his first book in adulthood. The book I'm starting with is called Theo of Golden, and I believe this is Alan Levi's first published book. I got new glasses, but that's probably not what you're focused on in this clip. I'm trying that viral lip stain that like peels off your lips. But I'm gonna start reading Theo of Golden. Starting on page 64, I'm supposed to read 38 pages. So on page 102, I will be done. Ta-da! I'm gonna go blend this out. Okay, it's much later now. I'm not actually wearing these. I just thought it was funny because I have like raccoon eyes from the end of the day. Last Monday I got 38 notifications, so this Monday I read 38 pages, but I actually read 44 pages today, and I might read a little bit more before bed just because I typically read a little bit before bed. I haven't described what this book is about yet because I don't really know yet, but we're following a very mysterious old man as he moves to this city called Golden, and on his first day there he walks into a coffee shop that has sketched out portraits of people on the wall, and he starts this little mission where he buys the portrait, looks at their name on the back, and then he writes them a letter and says that he would like to gift them the portrait of themselves, and he meets up with them on a bench. You get to see their reaction to a stranger asking them to gift them a portrait of themselves and meet up with a strange 86-year-old man by a fountain on a bench. And clearly he has some sort of mission in this city, but you don't know what it is yet, and you don't know a lot of backstory about him, but you watch people's reactions to him, and people always soften up and end up trusting him. So you know he's doing something right, but you don't know what's going on. It's really interesting so far. I'm very intrigued. I'm excited to get a lot of reading in because tomorrow I have to wake up at 5 a.m. I think, and I'm actually going to Joshua Tree, California. I've never been there before, but that means I will be reading a lot of these books in the desert. I have 162 pages to read tomorrow, and I have the flight, so I'm very excited. That means I'll probably almost be done with this book by then. Go, 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 go. And since I failed to read 67 pages, now Mitchell will have to read 67 pages for me. But he doesn't know that yet.
How you doing? Are you lost in the desert? We don't know each other, but that could change.
Good morning. It's already Wednesday somehow, and yesterday I was flying and I was supposed to read 162 pages. Thought I would knock that out on the plane, but I ended up reading 95 pages yesterday, which is still great because I wouldn't have read 95 pages if I wasn't filming this video, but that does mean that I already failed.
Okay, so this is day one of me reading. I chose Little Women. I love the movie. I have no idea how many pages I have to read. Haley has not disclosed that information yet. I have not read a book other than the Bible, probably in 12 to 14 years maybe. On my reading journey, it starts right freaking now. Starts right now. Here I go. We're gonna read.
I'm currently in the middle of the desert, Joshua Tree, California, and right over there, Ryan is filming his Joyride commercial, so I am technically on their set and just trying to, you know, be in the car, be out of the way so I can read my pages, but I'm just surrounded by a lot of people right now, so it feels a little bit rude to just like plop down in the middle of a room full of people and open my book. So I haven't been doing that, but today I'm supposed to read 204 pages, which would be the rest of Theo of Golden plus 6 more pages of a new book. And this book is really good. I am very much enjoying it, and I'm loving the writing style. You're just following all of these new characters in this town, and it's really heartwarming. I feel like the best thing I could compare it to is like a Frederick Bachman book where it's just meeting a bunch of different people, but through the perspective of a very sweet old man who's on some sort of mission that we don't understand yet. It's not necessarily a page turner, which I feel like is something that I should probably go after for a video like this where I need to read so many pages, but I'm going to try my best to read the rest of this book while on set in the middle of the desert today. So let's start reading for today. I'm starting on page 208. Time to read 204 pages.
A rush, it's something got me seeing stars. I fall apart, this crush is gonna crush my heart. So
Yeah. Okay. We'll start now. This is not me procrastinating. I'm getting amped up.
Whether I lose it, I lose my mind. Falling for it every time. Drowning the dead and the blue in your eyes. It's like a rush of something godly. Seeing stars.
Good morning. It's Thursday now. Yesterday I was supposed to read 204 pages and I read let me do the math. I read 152 pages. So I have failed 3 days in a row, but I have read more than I've read probably in months. I still take this as a win. There's this one paragraph in this book that I feel like perfectly sums up the theme of it. It says, he once wrote that the best portion of a good person's life is the little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love. Well, I guess I can't really read you the paragraph. I don't want to spoil anything, but this book is about little, nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and love that end up bringing an entire city together. So I'm going to finish the rest of this book because last Thursday I got 132 notifications. So I'll be reading 132 pages. This video requires a lot of math because I'm on page 348 plus 132 equals 480, but this book is only 394 pages. So then I'll have to read 86 pages of a new book. So let's get started. What's up, guys? What's up, guys? I'm reading my pages in Target. Cool.
I didn't see you. I'm walking everywhere.
I want you, baby. Night after night, I need your love. When everything's wrong, you come and make it right, yeah. And I feel so high in love. When it's cold, when it's dark, and I feel like I'm done. Just one look at your face, and your smile takes me home. You are my sunshine.
There's a lot of words I do not understand. Do I spend time looking it up? I don't know what normal reading behavior is.
And you fill me up with all them good.
I am back home now, and it feels great to be back in the library, honestly, because as you saw yesterday, I was trying to read my pages at Target while they were filming the commercial, of course, and I just got a chair out, sat there, posted up. Literally nobody cared. Like, the amount of employees that walked past me, they didn't even blink an eye, and I was fully posted up, glasses, book. No one said a word, but I was supposed to read 245 pages and I only read 170. I read 70 pages of my own book on my Kindle. While we were road tripping in the car, I randomly thought of a few chapters that I had written recently and I just wanted to go read them. So I read 70 pages of that and then 100 pages of Don't You Forget About Me by Mhairi McFarlane. And I would just like to show you the stack of Mhairi McFarlane books I have read. I've read 8 of her books. The one on the bottom is the first one that I read, and then they go in order of how I read them. These 2 up here are actually the first 2 that she ever wrote, and then this one is from 2019, so I don't really know where this goes in the order of books that she released, because as you can tell, I'm not reading them in order. I've enjoyed every single one of these so thoroughly to the point where I'm scared to finish her backlog because I don't remember how to read anything else. I just am obsessed with her. I'm now 286 pages into this, and I don't know what was happening to my phone last Saturday, but apparently I got 325 notifications. So I am supposed to read 325 pages, which is practically an entire book, but I am determined to complete this more than just Monday's pages and Thursday's pages, because so far I've only completed 2 out of 5 days, which is so sad. But I'm back in my home environment, which means I should be able to accomplish this, and it's already 2 p.m., so we better get started. But luckily, the last pages of this book are going to fly by for me. I already know because I am enjoying the book so much, and I have some options for what I could read next. So let's start reading 325 pages for today. So crazy.
Would you keep it up? Oh, just a little bit longer, baby. Just a little bit longer, baby. Just a little bit longer, baby. Day after day, I wanna.
The sheets have been pulled back, which means I've been reading for a while. I'm on page 358 now. It's actually not that long. 286 to 358 is 74 pages out of 325 so far. But this book got to the good part, as I thought. It had me giggling, had me reading really fast to find out what was gonna happen. That's my favorite, when you read in like double time speed because something crazy is happening. It's like a superpower where all of a sudden you can just read super fast out of nowhere. My drink shelf. Back to reading.
Ooh, oh, night after night, don't let me
So we have good news and bad news. Good news is we're at page like 152. Bad news is I'm moving really slow. Again, I don't know how many pages I have to read. I think I can do this. See, I'm not at a point where I'm like craving reading. I know people are like that, where they're just like, I need to read. I'm not there yet. I am enjoying the book though. When I actually sit down and am in reading mode, I'm having a good time. I can't get myself into that mode often.
I need it so much. I'm dreadfully in debt.
Let me go. You spin me around. I could do this every day. 'Cause I feel so high in love.
Good morning. I really don't want to have to say this. So much so that I wanted to scrap this video, but I don't think that's what you'd want. I think you'd want me to fail and share it anyways, because I did finish a book. But did I read 325 pages yesterday? No. Because when Bayfie gets off work, I want to hang. I read 150 pages yesterday, which is good. It's great, way more than I would have read, but there's that other video concept reading 200 pages a day. I'm not even reaching that, which did fill me with shame for a lot of yesterday. But I did finish Don't You Forget About Me by Mhairi McFarlane. Like all of her books, they are easily inhalable. If you need a page turner, you need to read one of her books, which I feel like people just don't expect because that's not typically what you expect with like a women's fiction, literary fiction, and that is what this is. This is probably the least romantic subplot that we've seen. It's still in there, but it's not as emphasized as some of her other books. You're following Georgina in this book, and she's like 30 something years old, and she's getting fired from this horrible Italian restaurant, and her family is really on her about getting a husband and getting kids and not working at restaurants anymore at the age of 30, and she just doesn't really care. She has this great friend group who makes her laugh, makes her happy. She's dating this dude who's like a comedian, and he's a whole different story that you will find out, but she gets fired from this place and she needs to get a new job. So she becomes a bartender, or in this phrasing, a barmaid at a pub, or a bar as we would say, and the owner's brother is the guy that she fell in love with in 6th form. I don't know, let me actually look up what 6th form is. I was just assuming it was like senior year of high school, the final 2 years of secondary school in some countries where students prepare for college or university. Okay, yeah. So this dude that she really liked, fell in love with, got obsessed with, her senior year of high school, and then something happened and they don't see each other for like 12 years. He's the brother of the owner of this bar that she's now working at. But yeah, it's really good as always. Her characters always have great backstories that are really believable and tons of drama. There's almost always a toxic male lead who is an ex-boyfriend of the main characters, and the ex-boyfriend in this book is insidious. The things that he does, they are unthinkable things, but it does make for an entertaining book. As always, if you have not read a Mhairi McFarlane book, I highly recommend it. This is the 8th book that I've read this year, and 3 out of 8 have been Mhairi McFarlane books. Adding it to the top of the stack of all the Mhairi books I've read. Unfortunately, I will have to say it's my least favorite one that I've read by her. It's not that unfortunate to say because I love all of her books regardless. Like, I genuinely just feel happier when I'm in the middle of one of her books. The one that I read right before this, Here's Looking at You, I think this is her 2nd ever book, her sophomore book, as authors refer to them as. Obsessed with this one. So really, give any of them a try. Just look how cute. Also, none of them have spice. So now you're probably wondering, how many notifications did I get last Sunday? Again, don't know what group chat was going off, but I got 315 notifications, which means I'm supposed to read 315 pages today. Your faith in me at this point in the video is probably down here, but the goal is just to read more books off of my TBR. I read 4 books in January, and this was the 4th book that I read in February. We only have 3 more days of this month. So if I read another book in this video, I will beat how many I read in January, which feels like a win. And I am very excited to read this next book. This got sent to me. It's an early copy, or what they call an ARC, Advanced Reader's Copy. It's called Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley, and I think that this cover needs to win awards already because it is the most unique looking book cover I've ever seen. I almost didn't think that it was a book. To my current knowledge, I think it's a romance book that involves a lot of music. So this cover kind of looks like a vinyl cover where it has like all the chapter names up here as if they were song titles. And one of my favorite bookstagrammers read this early copy and said it was one of her favorite books of the entire year. So I'm very excited. I have really no clue what to expect at all. So cool. It looks like a vinyl. This is her debut novel. Okay. This book is only 271 pages. So if I want to read the amount of pages I need to today, I need to finish this entire book and then 45 pages of another book. So let's start reading. I have my coffee.
So high in love. Where it's cold, when it's dark, when I feel like I'm done.
This book actually comes out today. So if I like it, you won't have to wait. It's already out.
Before you are my sunshine.
sun for the first time in 2025. I'm on page 62 and this book is Eating. This is her debut novel and some of these lines are so good. I'm on page 106 and this book is just so good. I don't know how to describe it. It's just angsty with great setting, great writing. There's not even that much dialogue. I just feel like I'm in her head. I feel like I'm her reading this book. Like, it just is so good. Up until this point, Mitchell now has 370 pages to read because of the ones that I failed to.
I'll admit, like, I've been sleeping on reading. I'm catching myself enjoying it. Like, okay, there's scenes in books that are not in the movie, and they don't want to tell you that. It's kind of cool. I won't even lie. And now I'm gonna go read, because like I said, I have 300 pages left. We'll see if that happens. I believe in myself more than I did yesterday.
I am so excited to review this book that the amount of pages I read, maybe I do want to gloss over it because I didn't hit the goal, but I finished this book, okay? And reading pages instead of notifications was all for the goal of finishing more books, and it led me to this book, and I just need to review it because this book ate, and it was like a meal that I've never experienced before, which makes this review difficult, but everything about this was just so unexpected. The Bookstagrammer that I love said that if Taylor Swift had a favorite book, it would be this one. So that was kind of my entry point into this. I didn't know if it was a romance heavy book or more of like a literary fiction just following our main character. And I would say it's definitely more in the category of like literary fiction just following a girl's life. And there's like a toxic, dysfunctional, almost like Normal People, that book type of romance where the characters can't stop hurting each other, but they love each other so much and it's clear to everyone else, but they just can't figure it out. And it was done so well in this book. It took me a little bit to get into because you're following a girl named Percy and she's in college at this point, and you know right off the bat she's obsessed with music. She knows everything about music. The way that this book describes songs, I've never heard anyone describe, like, even I've listened to so many podcasts of singer-songwriters discussing their albums and I've never seen them discuss music the way that this book describes music. And I didn't even know half of the songs that she was dissecting, but I enjoyed it so much anyways, and I did end up listening to the playlist that is on Spotify, which I think is a pretty important aspect of this book. But the writing style at first is kind of that like literary fiction where they don't really care about the reader. It's like, oh, I'm just writing this and you happen to be reading it. I don't really care. I'm not gonna like drag you along for the story. You're just gonna watch and I'm gonna switch timelines if I want to. It feels like you're just reading someone's journal and they don't have you in mind necessarily. So they're like, oh, it was the summer of this and this happened, and then oh yeah, in the winter, then it all fell apart. And it's that style, okay? So hard to describe, but I'm really trying. And then there's this boy named Joe, and he's the one who sings songs, okay? Percy and Joe work really well together when it comes to making music. Percy has a great ear and great taste and knows how to critique music in a way that makes Joe's singing and songwriting better, and Joe starts to rely on her as a crutch to make his songs what they are. And there's so much discussion about credit when collaborating, which I did not know I needed to read in a book. And also the thing that I think I love so much about this is that the characters are so obsessed with music and their craft to the point where they are dysfunctional in every single other aspect. Like, it is the reason that they can't just be normal people and acknowledge that they like each other and do something with it, because they're so worried about ruining what they have artistically together. And I love that so much. Like, if there are movies about prodigies, they're probably my favorite movies. I just love when people are so obsessive about this one thing. And I didn't even understand what they were like. I'm not part of this music world, but I loved it so much anyway. Also important to note, it's set in the 2000s, so it's nostalgic for certain people. I was born in 2000, so it's not necessarily, you know, evoking my childhood memories because I was a baby. But the setting and the feel is so great because after college, she moves to New York and you just follow Percy as she figures out her life. She gets this really weird, interesting niche job where she has to like find trendsetters and interview them and pay them for surveys so that brands can figure out what they want to sell. I've never heard of that before. That was very interesting to read. And you definitely don't get like a consistent through line of a normal romance book where you're like, okay, this beat plot, this beat plot. You're just kind of following her life and when Joe shows up in her life and how they ruin it, and then that happens like 10 more times. So the characters are messy. They're going to make decisions that might anger you. They did not anger me because I feel like Percy's thought process was so raw and vulnerable. Like, if she was feeling jealous of a character, she would just be honest with herself that she was jealous. And I feel like it captured how vulnerable it feels to be young in such an honest way, like in a way that I've never read before. And she makes dumb decisions because that is what you do when you're a young person. And I don't know, it didn't anger me. It just made so much sense. And I felt like I was her while reading the book. It was just such a crazy experience. I did not have a pen with me while I was reading this book, so I just took pictures of every time a line made my jaw drop. And I have to give this review with a caveat because I was not having these reactions to the book for the first like 70 to 150 pages of it. And it's a pretty short book, but then once I understood what was happening, or once I just got more attached to the characters, I was obsessed. This line is crazy. Percy says, "You don't know how insufferable I can be." And Joe says, "I want to suffer you." I can't even say that with a straight face. Like, sorry, you just have to read that. Joe says, "Percy, have you ever noticed that talking to most people is boring? Easier than this, but boring." Hearing my own voice say these lines is just not hitting for me. Like, you have to be in the moment and reading the characters' POVs, but they're obsessed. They're obsessed with music and they're obsessed with each other. Pain. Oh my gosh. Their dialogue is so angsty. Cutting some stuff out so that you don't get spoilers, but Percy says, "I will always be jealous of you." And Joe says, "Fine, I will always be inspired by you, even when you tell me not to be. And I will always be critical of you too. I can't stand it when you don't live up to your talent. And I will always be destroyed by your criticism." Stop. The kissing was so good as to be instantly unsatisfying, a ladder up to a whole new level of longing. The way that she captured how this one human being ruined everyone else for her. So yeah, 5 stars if you couldn't tell. I think the reason that I like this book is still pretty niche, and you should not read it thinking that you're gonna get like a romance love story. But if you love good writing, good setting, messy, angsty characters, Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. What a debut. And same with Ministry of Time for me last year. That was Kaylee and Bradley's debut. So I hope we get more of these authors because I am glad that they are publishing books. Okay, so yeah. What do you do after that, you know? Well, we can do one thing. We can check on the man who's read his first book in 14 years.
Haley, I read a book. First time ever.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm super proud of myself.
Same.
And thank you, though. I would never have done it.
You're welcome.
You didn't force me to.
Comment down below what he should read for his next book. That's a great idea.
Great notification.
Wow. You read his first book in 14 years?
What do you mean?